Welcome to Delightfully Dysfunctional, a podcast about navigating the emotions of the human condition and the challenges that come with it. I'm Keilani Persian Mason, a psychotherapist and life coach with James Timmons, an ever-curious human. This is not a replacement for mental health therapy. Please seek out mental health care if that's what you're needing. This is an opportunity for self-healers to dive deep and understand more about themselves. Welcome back to Delightfully Dysfunctional. I'm Keilani, and this is James. I'm James. And in our last episode, we spoke to Jonathan Robinson. I spoke to Jonathan Robinson about his book, Ecstasy is Medicine. And I thought it would be fun. I brought my copy of his book, Ecstasy is Medicine, to actually go through some of the questions that are designed to be processed under the influence of the medicine. But I thought it would still be fun to do it without. And
I'm
and
under the
you.
influence of Dayquil.
Well, maybe we'll give that a try. This is a case study of what it's like to ask these questions under the influence of Dayquil. Oh, you poor thing. I know, there's been so many nasty germs floating around. How are you feeling? Are you hanging in there?
Yeah, I have a little bit of brain fog, but, that's not anything unusual for me.
It feels familiar.
Yeah. Just kind of spacey. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, we were talking off the air a little bit, but I feel like everyone, I don't know if it's just this time of year, is feeling really exhausted and run down. So I know that you're in good company. I've been feeling that way as well this last week. And it's just kind of gray days. Like for me, I've always had a little hit of seasonal affective disorder, and it's gradually gotten better, especially after leaving Minnesota, where the months, like the winters just went on and on and on for months and months. So at least, like, honestly, spring is around the corner. You start to notice some spring even in February here.
Well, today is not a good example. Like, it's snow. It's snowing.
Snowed today. No, but the sky is blue.
That's true.
I'll take snow if there's a blue sky any day.
Yeah.
It's like the cloudy days we've been getting that I'm like, the day, it's perpetually like 4 p.m. it feels like.
The other day it was sunny and I just went like this.
Yeah.
And it soaked it up. I took my kids on a hike and they loved it.
Yes. Oh, I had never been up to like Jump Off Joe, that part of town. Have you been there?
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
No.
It's like you get this whole way better view of town than the Badger. But that's information and details for local folk and for everyone else to remain curious. Let's dive into some of these questions.
Okay.
I think so. There's also, we're just going to dive in. So prior to going over these questions, there's a lot that would have already happened within the session and to prepare them and get them, their intention going the right way. So some of them are meant, like they're all meant for you to be coming at it with a different level of insight. Because actually there's a quote here about MDMA that I really like and kind of helps you understand why it is such a potent medicine to use in conjunction with therapy.
Okay.
If MDMA takes away the feelings of self-hatred and condemnation, which are the biggest obstacles to insight, for reasons we don't understand, MDMA allows people to do this, typically in one psychotherapeutic session. And that was from an author, Anne Shulgin. And that is why the power of this medicine. Again, I'm just wanting to help break that stigma, since I know it is so frequently been overused in a party recreation scene. Mm-hmm. I'm very curious in the therapeutic aspects of how it can help. So the first one is, what do I need to know to move forward in my life or career? And wondering what insights might happen, what intuition come up. But under the influence of Dayquil, I'm wondering if there are any insights that still come up for you or for me. What do I need to know to move forward in my life or career?
What do I need to know?
Yeah. Is there any intuition? I think the power of MDMA, it allows you to really connect with your intuition much easier, to that higher sense of self. But
what do I hope to discover? Or
what do I need to know to move forward in my life or career, in the direction that I'm wanting it to go? If you're feeling stuck in those areas, for me, the insight that I'm gathering and something that I've been on a journey for quite some time on is balance.
Yeah.
Balance. I want to balance my passion for my family with my passion for my work. And that means Like maybe being okay with things being a little slower than what I've done thus far.
Yeah. I don't know if this is answering the question, but I'm going to just say it.
Yeah.
So like lately the career, the industry that my current career that I'm in, real estate, lately, and I hope this isn't falling the wrong ears, I don't care, but lately I've felt triggered when I'm around other like colleagues, and I feel like I'm trying to figure out why, because like yesterday it just I was in one of those situations and it just ruined my whole like mindset for the whole day.
Right.
And I think it's because it's all like performance based. And like, in order to be successful in real estate, you have to. You live and die by your reputation.
It is very performative.
Yeah, and then so when you get around a bunch of other people who have that same philosophy, and we don't have a choice. That's just how you are successful in real estate. So you have to just play by those rules. So when you get around that, and then because at one point, I was like I was accepted, and I think I might be projecting a lot of this. But I feel rejected now, and I feel judged, and I feel like, and so then I become resentful because of it, and so, but yeah.
Also, because it's an industry that's taken a big hit, I think that there's a lot of heightened anxiety for everyone, and that like in that fear-based place is not where most of us show up our best self.
Right. Well, then, and it's like, and it's a lot of. I don't know, just out of dishonesty. But and so I'm realizing that it's a terrible place for my mental health, and I feel like I've evolved out of it because whenever I think about other people who are playing by those rules, I get like animosity, and I don't want to like associate with them.
You just kind of have an ick face when I see you talking, like, ugh. Yeah. I love what you said too. Like, it just doesn't fit where I am, and I think honestly, there's a lot of insight that you just shared right there. Thanks, Dayquil.
Yeah. Well, hold on, and then the thing that I'm realizing is because I'm feeling a giant pivot. And ironically, I'm going through the book Pivot Year by Brianna Wiest, and she's amazing. But and so the thing to answer the question, all that to say, like the thing I need to know is it worth like taking that leap of faith and just going all in and leaning into my dreams, knowing that there's no like money guaranteed, but there's a chance that there will be a lot more money. But because like in real estate, like you said, the industry has just been terrible the last year. I'm not killing it in real estate. And so that adds to the resentment. And so it's like, okay, do I listen to the way my body feels? Is this showing me something? Yeah. Like...
I think a lot of times what ends up being anxiety and depression is those feelings being numbed and pushed away. Yeah. And so the uncomfortable feeling is actually something we should like look at from different angles and be really kind and curious and navigate. So in doing that, I think you're looking at, I'm paying attention to this icky feeling I have about kind of the nature of the work that I have to do for survival. Yeah. And it is leaving this sour taste in my mouth. And so I think you're exploring the right thing. The tricky part, and I am in a similar boat, the tricky part is doing that, in a way that doesn't cause unnecessary stress to yourself financially. Yeah. Right. And so that might mean looking for workable solutions that aren't the perfect match, but they make it work, or being brave enough to keep being curious. I think that's one. I think hanging out with other radical people, that's something that I'm realizing. And like when you hang out with other people who are willing to step into the arena, as Brene Brown would say, willing to like really pay attention to their intuition and be creative about how they follow their dreams. Yeah. There's a different energy that you get with that. Yeah. I recently had dinner with someone, and they came with all of their fears and all of their like kind of criticisms, because they're considering the line of work and the direction that I've gone in my work, but they were bringing all of their fears. And it felt like, you're just kind of sitting with those fears instead of like trying to learn or be creative or like playful. And I, just like this podcast, have felt like it has to be fun.
Yeah.
It has to be fun and playful.
Yeah.
And so I think spending more time just with people who will allow you to dream and encourage you might be a piece that is helpful in that area.
Totally. Absolutely. I love everything you just said is like confirming the whole, like leaning into the thing that I want to pivot into.
Okay. How do I open up myself to more love in my life?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah. Do you have thoughts? How do you open yourself up to more love in your life?
I mean, I feel like I am open to more love in my life, but I think that the way that love is going to like that I'm going to attract love is if I stop focusing on it.
I think this question is also about not necessarily romantic love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, I mean, I think this what I'm about to say fits because I think I've shared this before, where I'm just so focused on creating the life that I want that the people that are supposed to be in that life are going to just naturally find themselves in my life, and so that could be a group of friends, a new community, and lately I've really felt a calling and a hunger to either build or join a new community. Not saying like I'm going to physically move somewhere else, but
there's community can come in lots of different forms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really feel like there's a bunch of displaced people that I haven't met yet that feel like let's call it a community of rejects. And that's who I feel like I belong to.
The misfits?
To. Yeah. The island of the misfits. That's what we'll call it.
I like it.
That's from Anyway, so yeah, I think that if I am, but I shared earlier off air that I have been playing the game of trying to. I don't think I shared this with you actually, but I've been playing the game of like I've been trying to like stage a comeback in my life and career. But I realized that a comeback is just people pleasing because I'm wanting to like.
Oh, James, I've been wanting this for you. Yes, keep talking.
Well, because it's all about like performance. Oh, if I can perform enough and reach
that you'll accept me.
Yeah, reach certain like accomplishments.
Then you'll see that I'm okay.
Exactly.
Now my worth is still tangled with your impression of me.
Exactly, and then will you take me back? But it's like the whole point is. You've been banished. You've been kicked out you've been apostatized. You've been kicked out of the cult. So, yeah, sure, if you perform enough, maybe they'll let you back in. But the whole point is like, fuck them. Like it's time for
this was insight on it not being the right fit,
right.
Not on how to force yourself in the box.
My mess. They didn't like. They just decided, oh, you don't fit our criteria, so we can't associate with you because then it's not personal gain for us.
And then that isn't love. And I think we can put different communities and groups on a pedestal too. But I guess this question of how do I open myself to more love in my life? It means loving others with where they are too.
Exactly.
So in this practice, even though you feel upset and you are hurt by this community, I think it would also be a good practice to say, and I love you and I'm sorry that you're hurting because that is your place of healing and it's not my business to fix or to perform for you to make it better or right.
Yeah.
And that still is giving love even to a painful group.
Yeah.
Or a painful person. But but this is, I can't, it's too high a cost for me to wrestle with my worth being tangled in your perspective of me.
Right.
And kind of putting it to bed.
Yeah, like Don't Call It a Comeback by LL Cool J. No, Don't Call It a Comeback. What I'm going to call it is a rebuild or a redirect. Like I'm building a new life.
You're going rogue, and you get to do your own thing
Yeah.
that isn't based on what you thought you needed.
Right. And if any of those people want to be part of that new life, they're welcome. I'll love them.
Right.
But yeah,
Because
but-
we have to be open to like the capacity for each of us to change. Like others have that capacity too.
yeah.
And we might not be privy in the front row seat of what that change looks like for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just in this era where I think it's so easy to put labels on someone or to be like, oh, they're a narcissist and they're a this, they're a that. I'm sorry, but people are far too complex.
Right.
We're all just far too complex to just put a label on it like that and call it good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to skip around to some of them. Ooh, what gets in the way of loving myself?
What gets in the way of loving myself?
Let me read this section here
Okay.
and see if something comes up. This is from his book here. The number one answer I've received in over 100 interviews asking, what was the key to you becoming a highly awake person or being, that he asked in his book. I can't remember the name of the other book. The answer that he got is learning to love and fully accept myself, especially the parts of me that seemed unlovable. Many of the teachers say that love is our true nature. So to love yourself, you need only to see what's in the way. Seeing the obstacles of self-love can help reveal subtle ways we reject or constrict ourselves. Once you see these impediments more clearly, they naturally dissolve over time. Ooh, yeah, I'm in that process of dissolving some things. Yeah. And loving myself better. And in that, I notice myself love others. Oh, so much better. So much better.
Yeah. I know there's an answer in there, and
We've got that foggy brain. If I can simplify the question, just
well, no, I can try. I'm gonna take a shot.
Okay, good.
So, going back to that whole comeback thing, I've convinced myself that if I don't have certain like criteria, that I'm unlovable, and it forces me to isolate, and I don't want people to be drawn into my mess. I'm like, just stay away. I don't want you to see me like this. And we've talked about this a little bit before.
Yeah.
But then I think about, okay, imagine a person who relentlessly chooses to love you even in your low points and your mess. Like, what does that person look like? And I'm like waiting for that person, but I'm like, wait a minute, that person, I need to be that person, you know, like that
When
whole,
we attract what, like, yes, I love what, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No,
I
go
was
for
getting
it.
excited. Okay. Yeah, when we can resonate, I'm going to get a little woo-woo because the words are easier to find that way. But when we can like kind of find that vibration for what we're wanting, we can manifest what we're wanting better.
Yeah.
So meaning not just in a state of I'm wanting a partner, I'm lonely. That's saying I'm wanting to be wanting. That's what you're signing up for. But if you can really put yourself into the space of what would it feel like to give unconditional love to someone deserving of it? And what would it feel like to receive that and to believe it? What would it feel like to really let my walls down with someone?
yeah.
And what would it feel like to really be supported and to have the opportunity to support someone else? Like, now there's a feeling we're working with.
Yeah.
And putting yourself back to that feeling, that's letting, it's like putting your calling card out there to the universe in a different way, that a magnetism can happen.
That's so true. You know, I've so like overlooked the whole like vibration, like philosophy, I guess I'll call it. But that makes perfect sense because just like a magnet, like you can be attractional. And if I want my life to look a certain way, then I need to like live in that feeling
So
today.
what is it, right? So what is it then it would even be, what is it like to love myself more?
Yeah.
So that I can be prepared to love others more. Because when
Right.
we are feeling that judgment of I need to isolate, for example, because I can't go out there and perform, really. Like putting on the mask to perform feels too heavy. That's also saying I if I can judge myself for not being perfect, I'll go out there and I'll judge other people for not being perfect too, because I put this limitation on myself.
That's true. Yeah. That's so true.
So this act of like loving yourself I think we can roll our eyes and be like, great, like love yourself. And we think that that's selfish, and it's not. It is the most loving, caring thing that you can vibrationally give to this world and to others. And it's felt.
Yeah.
It's felt and it's sensed, because I love so much better now than I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, on and on.
Yeah.
When there was much more entrenched layers of guilt or trauma that were being processed. Now it's like, we're all little kids with our hurt trauma, doing our best, walking each other home. I can be patient for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the culture that I want to exist in, is like, I don't want to be that performative mindset anymore. I want to display all my bad parts with my good parts, and just the whole thing, and not hide any anymore. And then that naturally, I've already seen evidence of that, of attracting the people who want to be part of that culture. And that's such a healthy place to exist, where it's like, this is just a culture of curiosity. There's not going to be any judgment, like, I'm going to love you, and we're going to process, and we're going to unpack things, and it's going to be, we're going to connect with your inner child and all that stuff.
To just like normalize all of that. It just, even us talking about it, it's like there's this instant weight that's lifted, because the terms of what is like, hey, it's okay to be human. Like, the terms have been set.
Yeah.
Instead of a lofty expectation, or, dragging the weight of our trauma and the shame that we felt along. That's what everyone's doing.
Yeah,
Every single person. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, they're hiding. And then, you get, and then they also, a lot of people don't want to go into those vulnerable places. So they've viewed it as such a boogie monster, that even like, they don't even know how to sit with it. Right. So then someone like me, they want to distance themselves, because they're like, oh gosh, I don't want to.
You're just a reflection of their unhealed parts, and what they haven't. And so people are going to have reactions, and that doesn't mean anything negative now if we have this perspective.
Yeah.
It's like, they're
not ready.
You weren't ready, or my growth triggered you in some way, or you're on your own path. Your timing for what you're needing is different. Like, there could have been someone you interacted with, 10 years ago, and maybe your reaction wasn't loving, and they had the same perspective, and they just thought, you know what, James is on his own path.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out when he's ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it humbles us to have that perspective as well, and that's important.
Totally.
We're much more alike than we are different. How would my life or behavior differ if I had no fear of failure or disapproval?
Oh, gosh. We talked a lot about that, actually, because, you know what? Let's play with this one. Yeah, because I'll just be vulnerable. I've shared on it. My dream is for this podcast to be like our day job. That's one big thing. But then also, since I was like a teenager, wanted to be a paid comedian. And lately, this year, I've decided I'm going to lean into that. But then I have such a fear of not just failure, but like rejection. Like, I was thinking about that today, where I've already written like a full stand-up set. And so I'm ready to go perform it. But I'm like, I'm not going to do it here, because there's a chance that somebody might know me and they don't like me, and they're going to like criticize it and tell everyone that it was terrible. And like, it's going to be such a fragile, sacred thing for me that I'm, and so, but then it's like, well, and I'm also like, oh gosh, if people find out that I'm pursuing comedy,
this isn't the first time we've talked about it on our podcast, James.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but okay. But that's funny, because I think that, it's good. This feels like a safe place for you, and probably like forgetting, like, it gets broadcast, but you're braver than you think, because you've put it out there.
Oh, I have? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have brain fog. bad
That's
memory.
okay. No, like I'm just saying it's a good thing. Like, yeah, you're not so shy that you're not talking about it.
Okay. But yeah, so yeah, that's basically the gist of it. But I yeah, what would it look like if I didn't have a fear of failure? You know, honestly, I think that I don't have much of a fear of failure. But if I was all in, I bet that I would get a lot of success in the things that I want success in if I was just like brave
You'd
about
find
it.
a different flow.
Yeah, if I was consistent. So that's actually, I'm talking myself into it more.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. These are good questions,
Yeah.
even without the medicine. I think
What about you?
Yeah. Oh, what about me? Thank you for turning the. Yeah. Well, what about me? Yeah, I would love to have more balance in my life. I'd love to be able to be home more with my tiny human. So to do that, some shifts would need to happen to the way that I work. Something that I've thought about that would be really fun is like, well, I love group work. So doing more group work sounds really exciting. Doing intensives, which means like 5 to 8 hours of therapy at a time, sometimes with medicine and sometimes not. I think that is also something that's really common in couples work, is like really getting that time to get in there and make sense of things. And so I would like doing that like a couple days a week, but having a lot of flexibility for creativity.
Yeah.
Like I've been working on putting out a course for our dear listeners on holistic mental health, integrative mental health tips that are easy and make sense to apply to your life. And just having more space for that creative part feels really nice.
I know.
And right now I haven't had the time for that creative piece. And even when I think about like spending more time at home, that's what makes me feel excited. Like I like watercolor, I like painting, I like crafty things. Like they make me happy to create, and I haven't had the time. And so in all things, to have that like flexibility, when I think about the feeling that I have, it's the feeling of like getting to explore that side, the feeling of getting to be more present with my kids, the feeling of getting to pursue my passion in a really meaningful way. And I believe in a more meaningful way. Like right now I do one-on-one work, but I am craving the ability to have more impact and more conversation, which this podcast does get me. So I am leaning in, and it's still scary every like new shift, but then you kind of acclimate and it gets easier, and then you get excited about the next thing, and you're like, okay, I can do it. And you start hyping yourself up. Okay, think about it this way, that way. So I'm formulating some of that, and yeah, there's times I wish it could happen a little bit sooner. Same.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah, that is one cool thing about this whole endeavor, is that we've sort of like trailblazed we've exercised the muscle of creativity,
of leaning in, and I think it's taught me a lot about you don't need to know what the final result looks like. You figure it out along the way, because there's been a lot that we've navigated and figured out or shifted along the way.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, that stops me and slows me down. And so this is a good reminder and pep talk to myself, even that like this whole coursework thing, like, okay, you've got the outline, you know what you want to talk about.
Yeah, just build it.
So you just got to start, right? And I'll sit on that sometimes for too long.
Oh gosh. You know what? It'll be really interesting. Like, let's just say 3 years from today, what our worlds are going to look like. If we just commit right now to like
just chipping away,
to lean into those dreams and those big audacious ideas that we have. Like, okay, what if we chip away one day at a time. 3 years from now, 1,000 days from now of chipping away. I'm excited.
It makes me really excited to think about, because I'm at a point too where I can't not chip away. Like that voice is loud enough inside of me.
Yeah.
It just needs to come out.
Right.
It needs to connect in some way. And so it's me really fine tuning how to feel that more and more.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really exciting place, but there's all of this uncertainty in the future as well. And I think that, maybe many of our listeners might feel that way too, with whatever goal that they're making, big or small. I do not want to minimize anyone's goal. Like I've still got some goals that are like trying to make it to the gym enough times a week and stuff like that. So
I've missed 2 days.
Like, oh, you're sick. You're doing your best this week is different than last week. Okay. Yeah. And so any of your goals that you are working on, I'm just sending you grace to be kind to yourself and also perseverance to lean in and that balanced combo so that you can keep trying to figure out what works for you, because it's a continual trying and adjusting. But it's the best work. There's nothing better. I had a lot of fun diving in, and it felt like the questions were really appropriate to like the beginning of the year as well. So, thanks for being vulnerable. And now
this has been
you're
beautiful conversation.
You're forced to have me follow up with you on your stand-up. And now you are my accountability person. You have to follow up on if I've made progress on the course.
Let's do that.
That's part of what's just happened here.
Creative accountability. That's what's driven this.
I've borne witness to your dream, and now I'm invested.
I love it.
Thank you so much, Delightful Humans. Just a few reminders for you. Some upcoming events that I have. I have a women's medicine retreat coming up March 7th through the 10th that I will be co-leading with Dr. Sabrina Hadid. This is going to be a very powerful opportunity to dive into your healing, and there will be the magic of some medicine work there and creating just a sacred, safe place for your healing and growth. And so I'm so excited, and I would like for you to join us. You can check our link in the bio. Another opportunity coming up is another round of the Intentional Love Workshop based on John Gottman's 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. This is a one-day seminar packed with lots of information. You can also see the link in the description for that. That will be happening April 20th. And please, as always, like, comment, subscribe, share some love for us. We are continuing to do this labor of love and just really enjoying this space where we can join you in talking about the real stuff of being human. So such an honor, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, dear humans. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.